2021 was a great year for fighting games. We got to see some old classics be revived and some old franchises get reinvented completely. It was quite the eventful year. Not to mention the continued support of some of our favorite games. So, without further ado, I bring you the 2021 Fighting Game Year in Review. Out of seemingly nowhere, Virtua Fighter is back after nearly a decade of being a dormant IP. Virtua Fighter 5 Ultimate Showdown is an enhanced remaster, but personally I would call it a remake because it has new graphics, and now it's running on the Yakuza game's proprietary engine, the Dragon Engine. Semantics aside, Virtua Fighter 5 is Virtua Fighter 5. It's the same game from all those years ago, but now available to a whole new generation of players. Virtua Fighter is an extremely technical 3D fighter that is simple on the surface with its 3-button control scheme, but has an ocean of depth for those who are willing to delve deeper. This is what the series needed. With its previous entry being stuck on last-gen platforms, this was a great way to gauge interest and support from die-hard fans. However, there was one misstep on Sega's part. They made it a PlayStation Plus exclusive. This is such a stupid move for fighters. They're already niche, so wouldn't it be in the best interest of Sega to get in as many hands as possible? Apparently not. Hopefully they release it on other platforms so more people can get their hands on it, and one day, I hope for the sake of Virtua Fighter fans and fighting game fans in general, we get to see Virtua Fighter 6. The long-awaited sequel to Guilty Gear XIII is here. Guilty Gear Strive is an anime fighter, although it's a little different this time. Strive takes a different approach compared to other Guilty Gear games though. Strive aims to make things a lot more straight to the point, fast, and concise. I think they were able to pull that off, but it's definitely at the cost of removing things I and other players enjoyed about Guilty Gear. This doesn't mean the game is bad per se, just very different when it comes to game design. Although, because of this, the game is very accessible to new players, and it's the perfect jumping on point if you want to get into fighting games. Also, there is enough there for a seasoned player if you're willing to accept and adapt to the changes. You have a really fun game. Outside of gameplay, Strive hits it out of the park when it comes to music and graphics, making it a great looking and sounding package. Strive also includes a 6-hour story mode that is just one big movie, and I have to give them props for that. Most studios would shoehorn fights in, but Arc System Works, they just give you an entire anime with their game. They don't care if it doesn't make sense. Oh, and I almost forgot. The Great Netcode. Strive is the first big Japanese fighter to implement rollback and make it work, and other developers are taking notice, so props to Strive. Strive is definitely polarizing, but overall, it's gotten more people into fighting games, which I think is the best thing a fighting game can do. And years from now, when you ask someone what game got them into fighting games, they'll likely say Strive. And just like that, we're at the last release of the year, and you probably haven't heard of it until this year when every content creator milked the hype and then dropped it for the next big thing. It's another French bread masterpiece, Melty Blood Type Lumina. Melty Blood Type Lumina is an anime fighter developed by Soft Circle French Bread, based on the Tsukihime series by Type Moon. Lumina keeps the core gameplay of Melty intact while adding new systems like shield counters and moon drives. The thing that's most interesting about Melty Blood in general is the freedom of movement they give to the player. Not only do you have 2 jumps and an air dash like any other anime fighter, but you're free to use them whenever you want, creating this freedom of movement you just don't see in other fighters. It also has rollback netcode, a first for French bread, and despite being such a small company, it works surprisingly well. Like most French bread games, it's not the most popular thing in the world, but it's really solid, and I definitely think you should check it out if you're a fan of traditional anime fighters, or are a fan of the Fate series and never tried out Tsukihime. I look forward to this game's future, and I hope for great things. And that's that for the new games, so let's see how the other fighters fared this year. Street Fighter V received its final characters, Akira, Oro, and Luke, bringing the game's final roster to a staggering 46 playable characters. If you're an avid watcher of this show, we've definitely come a long way, and I don't really have much more to say about it, except it's been a wild ride. Let's see what they do for Street Fighter VI. Tekken 7 added Lydia, which I'm assuming is their last character, as it doesn't seem like there's going to be more. I definitely feel like it's time for Tekken 8, so hopefully we see that sooner rather than later. I just had to put this one on here because it's the most baffling. It's been years since Skullgirls last got DLC, and now, all of a sudden, it's getting a season pass with a bunch of new content. I just find that utterly bizarre, but you know what? I'm happy that Skullgirls fans are getting the support they deserve, and you know what they say, better late than never. I was pretty hard on Samsho last year, and I still feel the same way about it. Admittedly, they did get some cool DLC characters like Hibiki from The Last Blade, and Baiken of all people from Guilty Gear, but like I said, none of that matters when SNK shot this game in the foot. Power Rangers is still here, and I still don't like Power Rangers, but hey, it keeps getting characters, they're on their 4th season, and I'd like to add, this is one of the only fighters that has crossplay. Yup, the Power Rangers fighter does what everyone else cannot. Go Power Rangers! Grand Blue Fantasy Versus finally got the price drop it needed. Better late than never, but jeez, this late should be emphasized. Additionally, more characters are being added, and they plan to add even more, so it seems Cygames isn't willing to let this game die, which makes me happy, and you know what, big ups to Cygames. Let's hope one day we can get actual functional online in the Grand Blue Fantasy, so more people can enjoy it. Dragon Ball FighterZ didn't get any new characters this year, but it did get a new balance patch which changed a ton, keeping the game fresh while the community keeps it alive. Recently, it was revealed that fighters would be getting a new character, a new form of Android 21, so we're gonna see how that plays out next year. Last but not least, we have a couple of titles that got brand new shiny netcode this year. KOF 98 UM, following its brother 2K2 UM, got the rollback treatment with the addition of lobbies and spectating. Blaze Blue Central Fiction and Cross Tag Battle also got rollback, which I have to say came out of nowhere, and you know what, this is just what the Blaze Blue community needed. The trend of rollback continues, and I hope in the future games like Guilty Gear XIII and KOF 13 get rollback netcode. Rollback definitely seems like it's becoming the standard for fighting game netcode going forward, and I hope with the release of the next big titles in the major franchises, they have this netcode so we can stop worrying about having good netcode in our games and just have it. Fighting games are so behind, and it's just baffling that it's taken this long to get functional online when other genres have just exceeded and surpassed it. But hey, I guess baby steps, you know? And that was the 2021 fighting game year in review. What was your favorite thing about this year? Mine personally, definitely Melty Blood. It's not for everyone, but it definitely clicked for me, and I'm a big fan of the gameplay, and I'm just going to keep playing more until, well, KOF 15 comes out next month, which I'm sure is going to take up most of my fighting game time for the next 6 months. 2022 looks like it's going to be a pretty good year, though. Like I said, we got KOF 15, and if you're not a KOF fan, you got Dungeon Fighter. I don't know if the League of Legends Fighter comes out this year, but you got to keep your eye on that. All the games getting DLC, of course, which will be covered in the 2022 Fighting Game Year in Review. And yeah, I think that 2022 is just going to be a better year overall. And I'm saying that as a KOF fan because KOF 15 looks so good, but I got to stop myself from talking about that game now because then the outro will be 20 minutes long. 2021 was a big year for this channel. I came back, I started making content again. I'm definitely feeling a lot more comfortable making videos and having ideas, conceptualizing them, and then making them a reality. The video I'm most proud of that I made last year was the Melty Blood retrospective. It's the longest edited video, or video in general, I ever made, and it took a bunch of time of planning, and I'm hoping that I can get another video out like that this year, maybe one or two. I haven't really decided on what I would want to do another big video on, but I'm definitely setting my sights towards making bigger, better videos than ever before. So I hope you look forward to them. And I want to take this time to thank you for watching, subscribing, commenting. I went from 180 subscribers back in August to I'm very close to 300 now. And you know, I just want to thank everyone who watches this far into the video. I always use the end of videos to ramble a little bit and give like my candid thoughts. So I just want you to know I really appreciate it. You also may notice I'm sounding a little off in this video. I did end up getting sick at the beginning of January, which is why this video took so long to come out. Anyway, like always, thanks for watching, and goodbye. Here's to 2022.